our second game of the day. In case you guys did join the Trovo stream a little bit late, we are currently in a 1-0 advantage in favor of Nexplay Esports. We are running away with the lead, but of course, Omega Esports have not given up just yet. They're going to fight it. It is a BO7 after all. There's still a lot of games to come potentially, and anyone can still take the dub. Anyone can still take the championship and take the title of the best team in Asia as of right now. But anyways, a lot of sexy skins in this one. I'm going to be pretty happy. A lot of nice colors, especially with that Corki. I got to say, I love it. I'm always looking for skins because skin equals
Maxi
skill.
dropping the high quality analysis here. Maxi dropping the high quality analysis. Just how many good skins are in the game, boys? You know, I think that Max, this is going to be a lot of attention focused towards the bot lane this game. As you correctly mentioned, first Drake is often very important for Shyvana. It is Infernal as the first Drake. That is probably the most important dragon for Shyvana to pick up. It gives her the true damage to her flame breath when she's in dragon form. It's going to be spicy. I genuinely favor the Omega comp at level 5. You have a lot of really strong ultimates. You have Ragnarok. You have Unbreakable Will from Alistair. You have that Ziggs bomb, which is obviously going to be incredibly powerful in terms of AoE damage. I feel like you're going to have to get some kind of man advantage for Nexplay, especially as Jinx is probably not going to be at her strongest state in the first dragon in the game. So I'm a little worried for Nexplay because this first dragon will be so important. And again, we saw in the last game, it was a complete fiesta at the first dragon of the game. But we'll see how it goes.
I mean, I think like the word fiesta is just exactly what described that first game. It was a little bit of a weird one for Omega Esports. They had a hard time overall. But then we're going to go back to the composition of having Corki going into the mid lane. And talking about Corki, he just bullied Chile on Aurelion Sol. He's going to have to go for the honey fruit almost instantaneously. Reason why I also like Corki in this mid lane up against Aurelion Sol, Corki's got some really strong roaming potential. So I think that overall having that against another good roaming potential character like an Aurelion Sol makes it a little bit even Steven in the entire game. So I think that they can both bring a lot to the jungle and also to the side lanes if they decide to do so. Garen's going to try and get a little bit of deep vision, but it's not going to get done just yet. As Shyvana, though, doing her rotation nice and swiftly. She's just making her way around, trying to make sure she gets the information on this Dragon Pit when the Drake is about to spawn, which of course makes sense as she would focus down this Scuttler instead of the other one. Rotation towards the top side, we're going to be seeing Olaf trying to take that fight towards the Garen, but unfortunately Garen a little bit prepared, just taking this one a little bit slow as Olaf will take his own Scuttler towards the Baron Pit.
Yeah, I think right now I'm anticipating a rather slow game. I don't think anybody going to take. I don't think either team is going to take massive chances before we hit that first Drake fight of the game. You can see Shyvana going for a little bit of counter jungling here, just taking away the Krugs, I believe, from the Olaf jungle. But Olaf will literally just mirror that top side of the map. We've basically got vertical jungling opening up at this point in time. We didn't talk about it much, but it is actually the Corki mid Ziggs bot, which is something that is worth talking about. Ziggs bot has been something that the PC League variant saw played a pretty extensive amount, sort of like, I don't know, a few years ago. And it was because of the ability for Ziggs to just essentially outpush almost any other AD carry in the game. And he was able to essentially force down that first turret using his Hextech explosive charge very, very quickly, which would allow the team to quickly rotate out of bot lane and start to focus global objectives. We have the Aurelion Sol roaming down here, though. This is what Aurelion Sol could do.
Exactly. Nice headbutt coming on through. Does get stunned away on Polymorph, but at the end it's just going to be a little bit of damage. But this is what I like to see from Chile. Some nice roaming overall. But Alistar does pretty good. Can just bump him away from that Celestial expansion. So he's going to be able to hold on strongly to that lane, save up the Jinx and the Lulu some time as they're just going to go back to base. Because really this lane has been heavily going in favor of this Ziggs and also Alistar combo. Alistar's been, tanking it up as he should be and creating some good opportunities for this Ziggs to really dash out the damage. But so far, I've got to say, this is a very slow-paced game, as you did mention, Scandal. It was expected to happen, so no one taking a lead just yet. In terms of gold, they're also really close, just a 200 to 300 gold difference so far, so nothing too out there for the time being. But Drake is going to be on the menu in the next now 30 seconds, 35 seconds, and that's where we can potentially start seeing some really early fights occur.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for back timings to occur as well. You know, you have that 30-second window now to go back for the first Drake of the game. You can see that the bot lane from Nexplay are now making that maneuver. I'm expecting Arise to essentially push this mid lane in and pick up his package at the 4-minute mark to make sure he has that available for this first dragon fight of the game. Again, you are seeing everybody coordinate their backs for this first dragon. A little bit late from Chuli and Joshi because they aren't going to quite get there in time. But Aurelion Sol has picked up this Liandry's Torment for this first Drake fight. You can see the package has now been picked up by Corki. You know it's about to go down, Maxi. It is going to be a fiesta at this first Drake.
Headbutt, no, that's going to be our Scuttler. We're going to keep the vision down, which they had to contest it anyways. They had to try and keep an information on it because they're not on the easy side access to that pit. Into the mid lane, going to have a nice engage coming on through from also this Corki, trying to get the damage down to Chili, but Chili will be good to go. He will be able to escape it with a very low HP. And because Chili's going back to base now, this might be an opportunity to try and go for an early Drake, but I don't think they're going to pull the trigger right here, right now. They're going to take things a little bit slow while Shyvana wants to make sure that the wave doesn't get fully crashed and the CS is not lost fully for Chili to try and just make it back in the gold lead. But the wards once again coming on through, and Horizon trying to leash it up a little bit, but not sure what he's trying to do here. Maybe just trying to bait a few players of Mega Esports into the pit.
Yeah, you can see now they're grouping up. I mean, they do this very quickly as a Shyvana, and you can see Arisen has rotated down on this this McGarren. Look, Maxi, I'm going to let you do the build up to this because there's clearly going to be some action.
Oh, hell yeah, there's going to be, and it's taken away by the Olaf, not giving it to Shyvana, no, 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 and of course now the fight comes on through, great double knockup coming on through also from this Alistar, that's going to create some great opportunities, and also so many frags coming the way of this Olaf. He is busted, as I always like to say, and 2 kills coming his way out of the 3 frags, one of those kills actually going the way of this Corki, and now that's going to be mid turret potentially getting taken down, and they have it too, they have this Ziggs, making it even easier to just take it down instantly, 20% HP, and that turret is gone, Scoundrel.
What did we say, Maxi, at the start of the game? A, we're getting a level 5 Fiesta at the Dragon Pit, and B, we favored Omega's team comp at level 5. They have much more impactful ultimates. That Gragas ultimate was clean. That Gragas ultimate was so good from JLC. Essentially, he was able to just knock Shyvana away, prevent the smite from coming through, and they were able to secure it with the Olaf. No one got rid of the blast cone, by the way. So the blast cone was there for absolutely free for Olaf to just jump over the wall. Didn't even need to use his flash in that fight. Obviously, they just saw a kill go down onto the Garen on the bot side of the map. They pick up the Gragas, but I mean, it played out exactly as we said, Maxi. It played out exactly as we said. Like, that level 5 fight, it was much better for JLC. And we knew that Shyvana was going to want to contest the Inferno Drake, even though they maybe shouldn't have done so. But it looks like we're getting a little bit back. It's a cross-map play for a couple of turrets while the Rift Tower is being spawned. Just, again, we're going to see it on the screen now. The Blast Cone is there. You're going to want to watch this Gragas ultimate. Really lovely stuff. Beautiful. Look, it just knocks Shyvana so far away. At this point, they are completely split. The Lulu has to flash over the wall just to even get it. She actually wild growthed herself, so wasn't even able to wild growth anyone relevant in the fight, and they got cleaned up.
Oh, Olaf trying to go for the dive actually with that Ragnarok. They're going to try and find the turret. Nice CC coming on through though, Chili. Doing some great work, and the ultimate from the Jinx almost, I thought, was going to be able to connect that kill onto Impressive Smart, but unfortunately that is not going to be happening just yet. There's still that counter push coming on through. The turret is down on 39 HP, so at the end of the day, the team that really comes out on top of that one is going to be the side of Omega Smart. They almost find 2 turrets. I'm going to say they find 2 turrets. If the fight happens there, 1 basic attack and is gone. So overall, good pickup and good counter push coming on through. Nexplay, unfortunately, now losing quite a bit there because also they are pushing down onto the bot lane. The objective game has dominantly been taken away by Omega Esports.
It's really, really good stuff from Omega. They're actually rotating Tame Laps around so nicely. You know, this is what Ziggs is powerful at doing. Ziggs has that ability to just roam and take towers with relative ease. That top lane will go down to a single Ziggs satchel charge. If you're able to get Ziggs safely into the red side jungle behind the Baron pit, for Omega, they'll be able to just throw a satchel charge over the wall and pick up that tower for free. So, you know, this is what Ziggs is really, really good at. They're rotating him around the map. It's basically a walking turret destroying machine. And also he scales up incredibly well too. You know, he has a brilliant team fighter scaling, as does Corki. Right now, I don't see many ways for Nexplay to get back into the game until we really have a super late game Jinx to talk about. And that's what I think Nexplay are going to have to be playing towards in this game. They have to be looking to get Jinx up to 3 items at the very least. And there is some world where the Jinx Lulu combination can really start to pop off in the late game and essentially dominate these fights. But until that point, I'm a little worried. Right now, I think Omega are in complete control. And with the next Drake spawning, the Ocean Drake, which is relatively important for Shyvana too. It gives her the health in her dragon form. It was nerfed on the last patch, or a couple of patches ago, but it is still an important Drake for Shyvana to be in control of. I am expecting another Fiesta here, but if I were Nexplay, I would be looking to cross map. I would be looking to go for the top turret. I know Shyvana kind of sucks if you don't pick up the Drakes max, but I don't think they win these fights. I really don't think they win these fights.
Yeah, I truly agree with that one. And also, Shyvana's going to get somewhat starved away from this game. They're currently at a full 5k gold disadvantage. It's going to be going the way of the side of Omega Esports. So they're in a really good spot, while Alistar just chilling in the bush, in a river bush, trying to make sure he can maybe catch someone off guard, paired up with this Ziggs. Things are going to get a little bit centered up. The entire team, here you go. You said it, the Fiesta is about to happen, and I think it is indeed. Everyone is going to start grouping towards that position, but the vision game is strong for NXP towards this pit. They have all the information, all the intel in the world that they might require. But are they ready to take this fight when, really, when you look at the side of Omega Esports, they're pretty damn far ahead. It's still only 3-1. It's not all that insane, but just their team fight potential is just absolutely through the roof. And they're just going to kick it off now, trying to contest it away. The fight is going to be roaring in just a few seconds, down to 3,000 HP. Garen's going to go on deep. They're trying to single out. That's going to be Shyvana out of the way, and unfortunately can't fight it. They don't have the jungle, but Jinx just ults it down and secures the Drake, and that's going to make one happy Shyvana for sure. And Olaf is down. Unfortunately, went too deep in that fight. Now the man advantage is going their way, but unfortunately, all the players at NXP are just so damn low. And Alistar's just diving the backline like he's the goddamn assassin. Can he find the kill onto Uzi? I think that's a yes. He's disrespecting NXP. And now they're just going to be chasing down the few remaining players in their own jungle, picking it up one by one. Sure, they lose the Drake, but they find the kills.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still say that's a pretty good result for NXP. You trade 2 for 1 and you pick up the Drake. At the end of the day, you're pretty happy with that because Shyvana now actually has a Drake to her name. However, they should have just exited as soon as they picked up the dragon there as well. You know, I think that was a situation where they felt a little bit more confident because they killed the Olaf, and I'm kind of seeing why the Garen's coming into play here, because he has that execute potential. Because Olaf obviously gets stronger the lower HP he has, so the Garen comes in as an execute potential when he's trying to dive the Jinx in the backline. So I like the Garen pick in that regard. It's like a mini counter to the Olaf in the sense that if he goes low, you can just execute him with the ultimate. But I think they got a little bit overconfident because they picked that Olaf off very early onto the fight. But they still were facing a huge number of ultimates like the Gragas Cask, the Ziggs Bomb. They were able to chunk them down and super low. But at the end of the day, Max, if I were Nexplay and you offered me a 2-for-1 trade and we pick up the Drake, I would have taken that at the start of that fight every single time. It is a good result for Nexplay because it's going to give that Shyvana that extra little buff in the Dragon form. Although there is now a group up around that Baron.
Oh, I'm seeing Lulu here. She's just no way, Jose. That's going to be it. Olaf picks it up in himself in a pretty good spot right now. Did pop the Ragnarok, I do believe. So that's not going to be available for the next fight. Unfortunately, maybe something NXP can try and use for themselves if they decide to do so. While Baron is indeed available, but mid lane is going to be contested. They did lose their first turret earlier for Nexplay, allowing a pretty big deep. Nice knockup going on through on top of Aurelion Sol. But unfortunately, the team is not there. The follow-up is not going to be decent. So they will not get anything for the time being. But Baron now is still opened up. They got some decent damage on top of the Aurelion Sol. So maybe a way for them to get the Baron. But I'm not sure they're going to commit to it just yet. They're a little bit unsure if that should be the good call. And indeed, they shall not go for it.
The other thing that you have to be worried about if you're Nexplay is you actually can't out-trade poke versus this comp. Like the Corki and the Ziggs, the poke between them, especially as the game progresses, is too difficult for you to navigate. You have to look for the hard engages, and that can also be a bit problematic versus like an Alistar and a Gragas. So you're kind of in a catch-22 where you can't play the ranged game versus the Omega composition, but you also can't really play the hard engage comp unless you're super far ahead, which of course at this stage in the game they're not. They're 6,000 gold behind. So this is just a worry, I think, for Nexplay, that you can see they're being forced off their own turret. Those single bombs doing about a 1/6 or a 1/7 of Jinx's HP in one go. They are just desperately looking to try and clear the waves as much as possible. But this is just the Omega are playing this comp exactly the way they should be. Play it from range with the Ziggs and the Corki poking as much as possible. And then when it comes to these teamfight situations, you're also superior. It's a really nicely drafted comp from Omega overall.
Yeah, they got the best of both worlds. Some really good poking range and then some good engage with that Gragas and especially with that Olaf that's been doing great so far in this game. They get a little bit split away when they did take that Drake fight, but at the end, it's A-okay. He's still in a really, really strong position as of right now. Though Drake is going to be spawning once again, and as Xscoundrel would like to say, another Fiesta should be happening, hopefully around that Dragon Pit, so that's going to be up very soon, I do believe. But everyone went back to base trying to get ready for the next potential fight, trying to get those itemizations on board. As Olaf trying to clear some deep vision, though he is Olaf, so if he has to escape, Ragnarok will easily just snatches it away with a nice hatchet, and will be able to get some extra 90 gold in his pocket. Red buff going to be contested. Can he steal? Oh my god, did he get that one? Yes, he did. He just snatched away the red.
He did. Wow. Literally just snuck it away. And that's going to be important because red, pretty impactful, especially if they were trying to donate that over to the Jinx. That's a pretty impactful buff to have in this next team fight, which is obviously going on towards the Cloud Drake. I don't know if Nexplay are even going to bother contesting. They're not in the position. They don't have the vision. they've got 0 eyes on their blue side jungle, and even less in the river, they'd be walking into a trap versus an Alistair if they had to. So you can see Nexplay are just confident, or rather just going to say, not even going to bother. There's no way that we get into this without, potentially getting engaged on and just losing our lives. So they make the more sensible decision to give it up for free. But of course, this is exactly what Omega want. They are this far ahead where they've got complete dominance of the river, where at this point, Nexplay can't even step up to look towards the dragons or look towards the barons, and that's going to be a worry for them because the baron is quite clearly going to be the next objective being focused or even looked at by the Omega roster. And you need to step up, like you need to get vision control, you need to try and take control back of your red side jungle at the very least. But at this point, Omega are in such a dominant position that they're able to just walk through for free, steal camps, put vision down, and honestly, Nexplay are just essentially stealing the scraps of waves and funneling them into Jinx. They realize Jinx is primarily their only win condition, and so they're just trying to give as many creeps over to Jinx as physically possible.
Yeah, Hypercarry Jinx is going to be here for this game for sure. They do clear the vision away for the side of Omega Esports, making sure that they're just going to put them in a little bit of a blanket of misinformation as, of course, that's going to be Aurelion Sol can easily, just move away from that fight, not get caught up. But now as they are moving back into the mid lane, they're thinking, how can we potentially engage this fight? Well, Jinx does go back to base, so the man advantage is not there for fight does occur once again. Goes right into that barrel coming out from this Gragas, so just a little bit of extra damage down on top of the Shyvana. Things after a little bit of a stalemate for the time being, but that's just because they are stalling. They're trying to take as much time as possible. Corki, though, be careful to not get caught out. You will be fine, especially when Olaf went back into the jungle. They cannot afford to take this fight anymore, as it would break out really badly. But Nexplay, they have that fear factor. They're just not ready to take any fight whatsoever. They're just trying to take things a little bit slow, making sure if they can, especially as you said, Xcandy, funnel that gold into the Jinx. She's going to try and go in the hyper carry kind of position here and try and get some good damage and try and use especially that Lulu Jinx combo that we have yet to see really happen in a fight. It's just not been working out so far for them. Let's see if the next fight might be the one they've been wishing for.
Yeah, I think the game right now is kind of favoring them. Like they are just playing it slow, which is important because at this point in the time you need to. You don't want to give away anything stupid. The problem is you've got Elder Dragons spawning relatively soon, and you're still not on a level playing field with Omega. And of course, the Baron is always under threat. So there'll be a point where you can no longer ignore the river. You can no longer just sit back and farm under your towers. You're going to have to make a decision. But Jinx is now 3 items. She is relatively strong. I'm also really loving the item that Arisen is going for here because I think it completely counters the majority of the damage. Although I have to say, the Baron has started here, Max, so we could see some action.
Maybe it's still coming on through. They're going to try and smite it down, and he will be smited indeed bound by the Olaf. Unfortunately, Shyvana, sure, she's got the GA, but she's taken a lot of damage, having to force and flash away from that fight entirely. Wow, this Alistar just keeps on diving. Good headbutt into the rest of his team. But wait. Oh, it still went down, unfortunately, to one of the bombs coming up from 6. So that's going to be unfortunate. And Chuli just not able to have the impact possible. I hyped him up on this Aurelion Sol, but unfortunately, he's just not given the cards and the opportunities to have the impact he's hoping for. And this is going to be 2 turrets going down into the mid lane.
I mean, this could be almost game at this point, Max. Honestly, they've got the siege potential. They've got the poke potential. I think it's game.
I think so too, and you know what? They lose the Jinx, and that's even more going to be seeing the fate of NXP. Nexplay going to be losing this one 1-1. We knew it was going to be a hype series, ladies and gentlemen, and it is indeed 1-1 in this BO7. And the further we go, the further I keep on thinking that we might just make it to Game 7 here because, dude, these 2 teams are just so damn good.
Honestly, I would have preferred the Wukong here, Max, over the Shyvana. The problem with the Shyvana, and this is a discussion that me and Dave have had several times about Shyvana, is that you need a good, strong first Drake fight team if you're playing Shyvana, because that is where Shyvana starts to shine. She has the ability to just focus down those early Drakes and really come alive once she gets them. If you don't have a good first Drake fight team, then Shyvana becomes a little bit useless. Even though they snuck 1 Drake away through a steal with the the Jinx ultimate, they were never really in the game from the first Drake fight, which they lost, categorically lost by a huge margin. A really well thought out comp from Omega that fought for first Drake especially well, and honestly you could see the next play were just bleeding out the whole game. They could not get out of their own side of the map, and they just lost gold over time, and eventually that Baron, which they couldn't even contest because they had no vision of their red side jungle, and even when they tried to contest it, Alistair was there to just headbutt the Shyvana away and make sure there was no steal on the cards. A really well executed game by Omega, but honestly I don't think Nexplay played towards the win conditions of their draft. If I were them, I would have said, okay, look, I know it's Infernal Drake, I know that's important for Shyvana, but let's just go take some turrets. If you remember 2 days ago, 16-bit did the same thing with the Fiora. They just went to the top side of the map, took towers, then Rift Herald spawned, they took 2 towers in the bot lane. I would have done that. I would have just said, let's take the freestanding gold. Let's get Jinx as much gold as physically possible. Let's give her plates. We don't care about the dragon. We'll care about them later. We'll care them when we can, when we're in a position to fight. But they just weren't in a position to fight for the first dragon. Their ultimates and their level 5s just weren't as strong. And you saw it clearly there how Omega dismantled them from the get-go. And again, I think it was the wrong decision to go for the fight for Nexplay. But alas, it is 1-1 in the series now, Max, and that is a good thing for this competition because we could be going the distance.